Hey folks, how's it going? Ooh, transition, didn't like that. Hope you've all had a good weekend, enjoying your Monday so far. Yeah, there he goes, caught up himself. Didn't like transitioning into the camera scene there. Hey bot, how's it going? Patiently waiting for Clickbait Junkie. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We're looking at our rock golem today. What's up? Yeah, doing alright. It's been a nice, quiet Monday. Can't complain, can't complain. But yeah, gonna be looking at our rock dude today. I need to kind of reinstate his second attack animation. And create a new turning animation. I suppose it's kind of sort of putting one foot behind. But then I'm going to have a look at sort of bipedal things turning. Doing amazing, especially since there's a Lego Saturn V on my mousepad. Ooh, that's awesome. Michael Roxon animationing time, yes. We'll switch over to Blender and see what's going on here. Right, I'm going to have to be careful not to overwrite any of these previous animations, but we do have incremental saves, so we're good with that. Because I don't know what happened to the attack animation previously. Because we have assemble, attack 01, scanning and walk, but we've lost attack 02. So we could do with be careful with carrots. Careful with carrots. Gotta be careful with all of these. Time to whip out the flashlight and go look for the lost animation. I know where it was. We're on file number 12 here. And it was in file 7 it was last seen. So between 7... Well, it wasn't 8, put it that way. File version 8 did not have the animation. File version 7 had the animation. Somehow, whatever I did before saving it as version 8, I lost it. Cover's pronounced weirdly. Basically means extra steps or with a asterisk. Ah. Is it caveats? So yeah, I've heard of the term caveat. I think that might be the spelling of it then. Never seen it spelled. I've only ever heard it said. Yeah, extra steps always induce a bit of a risk. But that's why I've been incrementally saving this as version so X+1. Yes, one of the only fancy words I know how to spell. I'm guessing it's a French loan word. We borrowed it from the French. I'm going to do, before we continue, I'm going to save this project as version 13. So we know whatever we have here as version 12 will not change now. So we have a version 13. We're looking at version 13. Anything we change, it's not going to affect the past. There has been Deja Vu or Rendezvous. And that's about it. Yeah, those are some... Deja Vu's a little complex to spell. Rendezvous, though. That's a hard word. But then, even as a native English speaker, I do not know all the French loan words in English. Until someone goes, you know what, that's a French word, and go, it is, isn't it? I can't think of any top of my head. I only know how to spell rendezvous because it's the name of a place. Right. Oh, nice. I know passport is actually taken from the French. I'm not sure if it's pronounced passport in the original French, but being English, we say it as is. Being for real, passport. I think these spellings probably changed. Really unoriginal, yeah. Pretty sure the word colour is French as well, or pronounced couleur in French. Pretty much any of the English words that have a U in the spelling that doesn't seem to need to be there, likely to be French. French seems to like the U. In Afrikaans, passport is passport. They just remove one S, but pronounced slightly differently. Oh. Yeah, that's interesting. I can probably look up a load of French loan words, but see, only good American things, colour and not colour. Yeah, I think all programming language and scripts seem to have the American spelling. So something I have to remember doing when I was doing web development during my college years is that it is not going to read the word colour, it's going to read the word collar. Most have both. That's good to know. Things have progressed. I know HTML4 wouldn't have had it. Or was it 3? I can't remember what version of HTML we were on when I was in college. We are talking about 20 years ago. Most frameworks I've worked with. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I've always defaulted to the American spelling because that's just typically how I've learned. But it's good they progressed to allow the English spellings. Let's give a quick topic of conversation. Let's have a quick look. What other common French loanwords? French loanwords in English. 130 plus French loanwords in English. What kind of things do we have? Oh, obvious ones like baguette. Also in Afrikaans, most of the time that a letter occurs once in a spelling like passport, the O you pronounce as if there are 2 O's. So it's pass, port. It's like a longer O. Is it passport? Oh, appetite. If you have an appetite, that's French. Anatomy. Some see French loanwords as unoriginality, myself included. Others see innovation. Yes, like a longer O. Archer, as in someone who fires arrows. Army. Art. Bacon. Beef. I know about the meats. Like, all the English words for meats are borrowed from French. Apart from in English it's beef, in French it's boeuf, because we spelled it slightly different. A lot of the French loanwords we've respelt, but haven't changed the sound too much. Button. Captain. Cathedral. Charity. So basically all the normal English vocab is stolen. Yeah. We're an island that has been invaded by several different language speakers. Even our king was French at one stage. One of our kings was French. Continue, cream, croissant, dance, depth, diamond, envy, grammar. What's new? Yeah. Like, even our current monarchy in the UK is German heritage. So it's what I find funny. A lot of xenophobic English people in this country don't seem to understand that there's not such thing as a traditional British kind of heritage, because we're basically just a combination of every country that's decided to invade us at one stage. Now we have Viking, we have French, Roman. The Romans are in the UK for quite a bit. And it's evident by all the old architecture. I'm pretty sure that's French as well. Judge, jury, justice, all French words. I feel like they're more xenophobic towards the people to the south from them. Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be sort of some kind of superiority to sort of being to the north gives you some kind of superiority. Leisure, obviously that's French. Literature. Melody. Mountain. Music. Mustard. Novice. Opinion. Papier or paper. Yeah, there's loads of common words, you don't think? Person. Prison. Prefer. Religion. River. Romantic. Salad. Yeah, this is the stream now, just me reading French words. When you look at the spelling and go, yeah, I can understand how that's come from French. Most of the most awkward to spell English words are probably French. Completely unrelated to the topic, Saturn V is the biggest excuse I have to procrastinate because it uses some building techniques that put pieces on angles instead of leaving it be. I start moving pieces because they're like hinges. Oh, that's interesting. So you got like the old flappy bits that kind of move, and that's cool. I love kind of inventive Lego builds. Like whoever designed the build really put some thought into how it is going to go together. So yesterday I built the model for the Batman versus Superman Batmobile. It's not a massive build. You're only talking, I think it's about 10 centimeters long. Not very long at all. But it's a cool build, and it's got a few flappy bits that hinge and stuff, and some weird looking pieces that by themselves don't seem to make a lot of sense, but when you fit it to the model you go, ah, that gives this kind of sort of detail to it. So very well kind of thought out. Sounds sick. Yeah, I have to take a photo. I'll put it in my Discord after the stream. You can see pictures of it online anyway. Batman versus Superman Lego. But yeah, the model itself's cool. It comes with a little minifigure of Batman. But there's they brought out 3 Batmobiles for the anniversary, which coincided with the release of Lego Batman: The Dark Knight, which is cool because if you buy the Lego model, you get a code to enter into the game to unlock the gold skin for that model in the game. So they basically coincided the models in the game with the models you can buy and build. So I shall put that into the game next time I play. The only thing I won't be buying from the set is the Batman logo. You can buy a Batman logo. And that's £60. It comes with a gold Batman figure, and that unlocks the gold Batman skin in the game. But I'm not spending £60. Plus, where am I going to put a massive Batman logo? It's a huge Batman logo. So it's not like a car. I can just put a car on a shelf, like a small shelf. Sit the car there. This thing needs a bit of space, so probably won't buy that. This sounds sick though. Yeah, it's and the integration, like it's a good way to sucker people into buying the Lego and the game. But then, to be honest, if you're buying one or the other, yeah, you're likely, if you're buying a Lego game, you're likely to like building actual Lego and vice versa. Insane price, yeah. The Batmobile I picked up for £20. Recommended retail 25. And 25 for a 10 centimeter car is a bit much in my mind. Like £20, I can deal with that. Yeah, if I ever become rich, I won't tell you, but there'll be signs. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be buying somewhere I can keep all the Lego and then buying more of it. Yeah, so there'll be a lot of Lego sets. Yeah, if I was a multi-millionaire, I'd buy a house with a room I can dedicate to just Lego. I'd build a huge city. I would have a train running through it all. Now, I see some of these Lego city builds people do on YouTube, and I'm just jealous. Or Ractability over there. Someone asked me why I have 60-acre estate, and I say for Lego, duh. Of course. No one stays there, by the way. It's just Lego storage. Let's call this TAC 02. It's got its default stance. Where I decided to take a 9-day game jam, or take on a 9-day game jam. Awesome. What's the criteria? Oh, I did not want to do that. Interesting. One night I really don't want to work on my game. I was itching to do some work like programming or game dev, you know, those crackhead itches. But Codehead. Oh, Codehead needs to be a term. Went on Edge and I saw Game Jam. Do you want a jam? And I was like, heck yeah! So I joined the next day. Found out the theme was unstable. Oh. So what does that include? Is that kind of like working with physics, gravity? Or just games that crash when you push the wrong key? Anything unstable? Well, most of what I've made so far have fit in. Physics, horror, story, line. One of the participants is making a game where you have to take care of an unstable nuclear core. Ooh. Oh, I like that premise. Can't remember which horror game it was where you have sanity meter. That kind of stuff is interesting in horror story. But it's not really like a health bar, but it's like, well, how long do you actually go completely nuts and insane from all the horror that's going around? My idea is a executable that's unstable, that might not even run sometimes, but that's not really good for game jams. Phasmophobia as a sanity meter. Ah, okay. Yeah, I've not played Phasmophobia. I've seen people play it though. It might be what I was thinking of. Now, if you had a... Depends how meta you want to go with it. Could have a indie game dev sim. I'm pretty sure someone's already made one of those. You have to try and stabilize the game. I'm scared shitless of playing, but I played Roblox games like it. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really into horror games. I like the idea, but I just haven't got the guts. Like, I played a bit of Alien Isolation, and that had me basically panicking constantly. And I played Dead Space. Dead Space is pretty cool, but again, the paranoia in that game. Very well written, very well produced game. But it's not for anyone who's a bit faint. And to a certain extent, Resident Evil games are kind of horror. A little bit more action based in it. My idea that you deliver, that you are a pizza delivery game, where you deliver pizza in a no man's land-esque area. Like the region is unstable because people are fighting. Oh. Yeah, so politically and socially unstable. That's interesting. Yeah, so like no man's pizza. No man's land pizza. So far I've got landmines and a car controller down. I have a pizza pickup point, but that doesn't work yet. Oh, cool. I reckon you'll get that bot though. Sounds a cool concept. I like to see how that turns out. But I'd love to be able to join a game jam. You just guess the actual name of the game. No Man's Pizza. Cool. That's insane. So you obviously picked a very good name. Yeah, I'd love to join a game jam. Like, because I've basically jumped a stage or two with game dev. I've learned enough to start doing stuff, but I've not actually got the basics fully down yet. Well, that's what I kind of in some ways. But I know the key to a lot of game jams is to have a lot of core systems already built that you can just draw from. Like, okay, you have a vehicle controller or a character controller already kind of set up. You basic kind of systems that you're using in a lot of games. Now, once you have that already set and ready to go, you just grab your controller and grab your mechanics, throw it together, and you put together the game. And that makes your life easier with a game jam. So I will be working all that kind of stuff out. For your first game jam, I'd recommend joining a team. So one person does work in engine, the other does art, the other does music, etc. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's very slow going when you're doing everything solo. But that's when game jam games are very simple. If it's only a small team or solo. But we'll do at some point. Stay motivated, yeah. It'd be very easy just to drop out and go, I'm done with this. Insert frame. Location. Rotation. Location rotation. Okay, so we have our benchmark stuff there. So the attack basically was bringing his arms up and then slamming down with a crouch. Whoever designed this Saturn V did an awesome job, but the fact that they gave it an interior and a side panel which you can take off easily is such a mistake. Constantly taking it off. I suppose one of those things you end up leaving off until you finish the build, and then once it's built, depends how much you fidget with it. As you say, it becomes a fidget toy. Constantly removing stuff. So the Batmobile I built yesterday, the actual roof kind of hinges up, so you can put the minifigure in and out of it. So there's a couple of like flappy bits that on the car that kind of probably call them like the spoiler to adjust. But yeah, it's a cool little car, but it's obviously the model is a 7+ build. It's not anything too complex, and it's yeah, you just kind of push it and it moves along the hinge roof. That's a fidget central, yeah. Very easy, just going Like when I got halfway through the build to the point I put the wheels, the back wheels on it, I was just kind of spinning the wheels for a bit. To eventually, okay, we need to put the front wheels on. So let's move 10 frames. It's that I basically want to move. Be quite crouched down there. The nose cone is connected with an axle, so it slides off easily, and you best believe it when I tell you I'm not leaving that nose cone alone. Yeah, they make the whole thing way too easy to fidget then. So look at side view. That's quite a considerable crouch there. Do a bit of teabagging. So I shall move those frames over a bit because I don't want it to be crouching straight away. Well, it's got to kind of like power up its upper body. Sure, they got low, 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 low. Also has flaps which are actually hinges, so another fidget. Okay, so let's move that to frame 40 for now. So very gradual. Ah, of course. So move those ones to frame 40. Oh, it's the spine, of course it's the spine. So line the spine up with that. Damn, that's one fake golem. Yeah, look at the rocks on that. So what we shall want, I grab that, and grab that. We basically want to copy those and post it, or paste it, should I say, back there. So it means it stays and then drops it like it's hot. Okay, so we've got the general lower animation going there. So the upper body. So I could try and copy the animation from the previous version. Drops it like it's cold. Stone cold. It's a stone cold stunner. Oof. That's the point. What does a stone cold stunner look like? Is it been copyrighted? Can I use that? Used to be a big fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the wrestling when I was younger. And his special move was a Stone Cold Stunner. A quick compilation video of Steve Austin doing stone. Oh, so it's holding the head on his shoulder. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do that with a rock golem. Yeah. So it's basically holding a person's head on your shoulder, then jumping, lifting your legs into the air and basically slamming onto your butt while holding their head. Looking back at it, it doesn't even look that harsh because the assumption is that you're slamming their head down on your shoulder, but in actual fact, you're just kind of holding their upper chest and crazing their head. Yep, we're the Stone Cold Stunner. There's no way this... I could, for a bit of fun, I could animate this thing doing a Stone Cold Stunner. It wouldn't be practical within the game I'm doing though. Wow, that one guy leaped about 2 feet in the air from that. That was clearly overacted. And that one. There's people flying through the air. Yeah. I might, for a bit of fun. I'd like to do a bit of fun stuff into what I'm working on. But after all the necessary stuff's done. There's no point having a rock dude doing a Stone Cold Stunner. It can't even turn on the spot. This stream is just devoted to clickbait junkie being distracted. I'm the epitome of ADHD streaming, I suppose. Let's do a task. Now let's talk about something else. Let's go and watch a video. Let's go off on a tangent. And we'll actually do about 10 minutes of what we're supposed to do. Right, so let's put it back onto frame 10. So what he needs to do is kind of raise his arms up in sort of in readiness. So if we grab, I suppose realistically, just these two. Again, being a rock golem, it doesn't need to be too organic, but a little bit of organicness. So you've got it raised above the head there. Oh, don't worry, I'm playing with my Lego rocket ship like a child flying through the air in front of my laptop. Because it looks so cool being illuminated only from behind. Nice. Have you seen, speaking of Lego, have you seen Smart Bricks? The Lego Smart Brick they've just come out with. Because at the moment they only have Star Wars and Pokemon Lego that utilize the Smart Brick. But it's cool they've come up with a little bit of technology that fits in a 2x4 standard brick. And actually has a accelerometer so it can detect motion and a speaker to play the sounds. Yeah, so they're cool, but can be a whole lot better. Oh yes. Now I'd love to be able to hack one or sort of do something a bit extra with them. But it could be a little while before people reverse engineer a smart brick. But I love the idea. They've fitted a small microprocessor effectively inside a brick with motion detection and a near field reader that can read whatever model you put it in based on their little reader brick. So I love the fact that you can buy a Star Wars, I think is it a TIE fighter? You can buy a small Star Wars ship with a smart brick, and moving the brick forward through the air, it actually makes the sound of the ship flying through the air. Just like the kids would pick up and go, whoosh. And so that's cool they've done that. The only thing is, there's only five. I think there's only 5 models that you can buy right now that have a smart brick. There's quite a few Lego sets that have smart brick compatibility, but you can't buy a brick separately, so you have to buy one of the 5 starter models and then remove the brick to transfer between them. And I think Lego, I know what Lego are doing. They want you to buy one of the 5 starter sets first. And I've seen people on Bricklink selling just the brick for £25, which is about half the price of any of the starter sets. So check out the Teardown Smart Brick. Quite interesting. Ooh, someone's on a teardown. I shall check that out, yeah. Destroying imagination. Yeah, it's... The whole point of Lego is supposed to inspire imagination. And you're kind of taking it out of that kid's hands, but at the same time it's cool that it's interacting with it. Especially like the Pokemon sets where the two Pokemon I think should interact. But I don't know. I will look into that eventually. I was quite amazed by the Lego Mario sets with the little QR code color reader on the bottom of Mario. So I got a few of those sets, and yeah, just the little computer inside the Mario which will react to whatever color you're on. So if you're putting it across blue bricks, it just makes a splashing sound like he's walking through water, or onto a red brick and he goes, "Ooh, ow, ow, ow." I forgot the name of those Lego stuff that can be coded with Scratch-like coding, but that's more my jam. Yeah, oh, you can have like the Mindstorms. Was it the Lego Mindstorm robots where you can actually load coding onto the processor kind of module, and then program like the robots, which again is very cool, very good for encouraging children to learn coding and robotics. Yeah, Mario set thing was pretty cool. I remember seeing it on YouTube Short. Yeah, I've got the Mario. They brought out a Luigi and a Peach. I wouldn't mind getting for collection purposes, but they're effectively the same thing. But this little I want to say binary switches on the actual model, and you can put different dungarees, and the dungarees have different switch configurations. So when you push it on, it changes the configuration, and it knows what dungarees it's wearing based on the binary switches, and that's pretty cool in itself. So you can buy a Tanuki suit or a frog suit. I never really played it its intended purposes, because it's very much, let's make this character bounce along over different things, collect all the coins, and I was just amazed by the technology in a Lego model. I'm not sure, but you have modular motors and a bunch of more bricks, basically just an Arduino with motors and actuators, buttons, stuff for kids. I think it was probably the Mindstorm stuff. But yeah, I know you can get boards for Arduinos. If you have a Arduino, you can have a Lego motor controller board for an Arduino. Plug that in and it will actually plug all the Lego accessories into this controller board. And then you just code with Python and control your Lego models with a more in-depth kind of language, I suppose. I've been tempted to do that, because then it's fully freedom. That whatever you can do with an Arduino, just plug your Lego models into it. It's really cool what you can do. It's not official from Lego, because Lego want you to buy the whole ecosystem, but effectively it's just is it PWM motors and sensors and stuff like that. You can do PWM with Arduinos anyway. Right, so we have our arms raised up. Power functions. Yes, power function. I do have a power functions train. I was talking about, yeah. Then you can program the Lego trains with the right stuff. Put your hands in the air. You just don't care. So what kind of speed should be raising his hands? Probably a bit slower than that. Whoa, it's getting spicy. Yes. Let's say frame 20. So it kind of raises his hands up. And just as he goes to drop it like it's hot, around frame 40, it needs to have his fists come down and slam down on the ground. Michael Roxon, are you safe? Yeah, he's being coerced into dancing at the moment. So from this point here, let's lock it to that view there. So at frame 40, let's bring the arms down, but we need to also consider his back arching as well. So let's make sure. So arms come up. Now that just looks like he's ripping one on someone's face, really, isn't it? So it does need his back to arch. So just before the arms come down, you need to make sure his back is... Make his body go horizontal and he smashes into the ground. There's a face for that. Could do like a... Was it in Tekken? Was it Jax? And so puts his arms in the air and just goes boom and slams down. There's quite a range on it. Right, I think let's grab the head, neck. Grab those ones, and we want to copy the default frame points to here. So that means when it gets to 40, where's he going to want to bend? Probably at this stage here, or maybe a multiple stage. Let's he's going to be leaning forward a bit, and probably the arms don't need to be so far down in this case. Still here, but not chatting as much. Gotta step away from the keyboard and observe my monitor from afar. Okay. You gotta play with your rocket. I think generally that's spine. Let's have a bit more angle in the spine there. Because effectively I want him to slam the ground. So his fists need to touch the ground. So I could make the crouch a bit more pronounced. I could just bend him a bit more. But it does mean his arms need to, at the moment his arms are in his knees. We can't have that. Wasn't planning on playing with it. 100% going to happen now. That's all good. You do your thing, Bob. I think that's probably going to be fine there. Let's grab his arms. So at the moment it kind of... I don't even know what his actions are now. Phrasing something. So rather than his arms coming down as far, I grab... It's only with these shoulders, isn't it, that we're actually moving so far. So grab these two. Let's lock it to that. So we don't actually want it to be that far out. We want it to... still needs to hit the ground a bit. Again, I know it's a rock elemental being. Physics don't necessarily need to apply. But realistically, he's going to fall over. I think maybe his hip needs to rotate a little bit here. This is the point in the stream where you stop me from starting a Michael Roxon religion. I suppose I could put that into the lore of the game. There could be people that worship these things. I don't think these in themselves would have a organized religion personally. They are literally just animated rocks. But I could believe people may create an organized religion around them. They are giants. So, for perspective, each of these squares is a meter. These are meter squares. So this is 2, 3, 4, about 4.5 meters tall. So it's about 2 basketball players high. Okay, and now I want my 10% shares in Moon Game Mage. Everyone who's been watching the stream and chatting with me during the game's creation, I'll have a mention anyway. You'll be credited. You're all there keeping me company, stopping me from going off on wild tangents, or making me go on wild tangents, one of the two. It's about 2 door frames tall. Yeah, you can call it two door frames tall. Basically, this thing is not going to get into your grandma's house very easily without walking through it. So our protagonist is about 1.5 meters tall. So they're going to come up to just above their knees. So they're going to be about here. So they really do not want to be hit by this thing. I think this thing is a wild tangent, but okay. Now it had me thinking, so what kind of creature could a tangent be? And would you see it in the wild? Go chasing after wild tangents. Protagonist is from Africa. They could be. Let me give you all the history lesson. Okay. I am ready to be historied. I want to grab that there. So that spine has rotation and location. Yeah, so that's fine. So when it reaches there, we do want to put a bit of rotation on it. There used to be people, I don't know how to spell it, but it's something like pygmy. Yeah. Pygmy people. Yeah. Oh, I think that might be enough angle on that. Pygmy people called pygmy from Africa, and they only grew to 1.5 meters tall. That's the tallest they got. Oh, okay. Yeah, the protagonist isn't actually fully adult. I'm kind of stealing the coming of age trope in the story. An awakening of adventure and power. It's a done thing, but it's easy to piggyback off. But I have heard of the Pygmy tribes in Africa. Is that what they name certain miniature animal species after as well? Also, that golem is arching crazy. Yeah, it's got a... It's practically ready to sort of start scurrying on all fours at this point. Especially the sort of the spring-loaded looking legs. Now, if it was another type of creature, like if it wasn't rock, I would say this would be a setup for a lunge attack, but as big and as powerful it is not fast. It's not it doesn't have spring energy to it. It's very much, it's using gravity to achieve a lot of stuff. My sleep paralysis demons be like, well, 4 meter tall rock giant. In which case should be squashed. Right, let's have a quick look how this looks. So we go play from the beginning. Brings his arms up. Yeah, I'm not convinced by that motion. It's on paper, that's what I want it to do. Bring his arms up, crouch, bend, hit the ground. 4 meter rock giant, which is arching down, yeah. So I think it's probably the curve of the animation. It's very clinical in the way it's doing it. This is very much yoga. It's not really an attack as much as it's a yoga move, I'd say. Look at us, reach up to the sky, hold for a moment, and then bring it down, crouching as you go, and touch the floor. Then we raise ourselves back up, reach the sky, and rest. Maybe make it faster. It'll look like it's a bunch more oomph. Yes, that's what it's missing, is the oomph. So this, just as it comes down, I think it needs to accelerate from maybe from frame 30 or between about 25 to 30 here. It needs to accelerate and then bang. That's an amazing clip. It could be one of my first and only. I do have stream clips. I don't have many stream clips, but that'll be, if anything, clip worthy. Yoga Junkie with Michael Roxon. Lift up to the sky and crouch down. Yeah, so it needs to accelerate from about here and then sort of. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. So possibly between frame 30 and 40, I could probably shorten this down. If I highlight the whole model. Remove these to there. Your yoga voice sounds like Bob Ross. Now, if I ever get the inclination to buy a Bob Ross rig, a rig? I can probably rig Bob Ross. I have to build him first. Yeah, and do a stream like Bob Ross. There's never mistakes, just happy little accidents. Let's reset it back to the beginning there. So I think from frame 0 to 20, I'm quite happy with. To a degree, there's improvement that could be. Then you should play a super high energy game. A Bob Ross stream playing something that's certainly not. Yeah, that could be a nice theme stream at some point. I've just been shot in the head. And it's not a mistake, just a happy little accident. Little blood splatters in the wall there. Makes an amazing little pattern. Bob Ross plays Doom. I can see that. Oh, did I disconnect temporarily? No. It always worries me when Twitch sort of says, "Welcome to the chat room." What do you mean? I'm already here. Let's confirm. Frames 0 to 20. Probably a little bit more of a acceleration, because again that's very clinical. That probably a slow start and then a rapid kind of whoosh, possibly even an overshot. I forget what they call it, but so as the arms come up and then kind of settle a little bit and then slam, as opposed to up, static, and then down. Though I'm not beyond this thing being a little bit more robotic in its movements, but at the same time it is made of rock and therefore a little bit more organic. I think you can do a natural overshoot in the transition curve, can't you? For now you get to the curves, but basically there's a curve that takes you from point A to point B, and you can do a slight. Normally it's a straight line, but you can do like a gradual kind of sweeping curve, which will speed up the transition. And you can, I think you can overshoot the transition and then snap it back again. But I'd have to play around with that. Trine robots have influence. Yeah, I like the robots in Trine. They're cool visual designs, and the gameplay around them is quite. It can be frustrating, but also fun. Like I like steampunk stuff, and I like the way those robots move. And a little spoiler, if I've not mentioned before, but I will be using a lot of the animations I build for this for like a steampunk kind of golem type thing. So any work I'll do on this will be copy pasted into alternative models of a similar nature. But things like a steampunk robot, there'll be different movements that it can achieve, at least easier. Like, because this is only a set of rocks held together by force of magic, it doesn't have to conform to a bone structure necessarily, because it is just a bunch of rocks. They're not attached, they're not restricted, but I'm choosing to represent it as a skeletal structure at the moment. But there's something to say it can't throw its fist. Now it kind of retracts back like some kind of magnetic appendage. But I feel that might be overkill. Possibly something that's a bit more advanced. It could start throwing parts of itself and returning it. Maybe the robot can throw its stuff and then sort of electromagnetically pull itself back together. Hollywood has movie magic, we have Michael magic. As long as it's Michael magic and not Magical Mike. It's not that kind of stream. So yeah, I might have to look at the curve for that. Still, maybe that needs to be a little bit more quicker. Let's bring this to there. That just seems awkward there. Put it back where it was. The movement is practically what I want from it. Let's unselect everything so it looks more natural. I shall hide the meta rig. How does this look? Obviously it's got the return animation where it stands up again, but in engine with the particles it'll look 1,000 times better. Oh yeah, so it's gonna have a like dust kind of poof. And so maybe even chips of rock and stuff, and like, and even like a little bit of ground shake, I think will add to the effect. So there's lots of stuff I can do in engine to improve how this looks. And what I will do, because it's very square, I'm going to bring the arms in a little. Maybe that will help. Let's do that. Let's because depending where the player is standing, technically they could get away with standing directly in the middle. They're going to give a bit of a shock. But let's see if we can bring the arms together a little bit. So as the arms come up to there, and I think as it comes down, it should converge in the middle slightly, and then slam nearly touching. Something I've learned is it's never about game look, but game feel. You can have terrible assets, but if the game feels good, it looks good. Oh yeah, that. There's so many indie pixel art type games that have proven that you may only have a limited set of pixels for a character, but if they move and they feel alive, it doesn't matter how many pixels you have to work with. That what kind of embodies that character. It's not how it looks. But at the same time, I would like to get a little bit more out of its base animations. And again, the player's probably going to see it from this kind of angle, from above, and probably this kind of distance. So you're never going to see it this close. Like, the game will be played kind of this kind of distance from most things. So I don't have to worry too much. But it's one of those things that you know it looks bad when you're close up. It might be okay. I could zoom out and sort of... How does the animation actually look from the design perspective? Yeah, obviously that's a bit slow there, but you as a dev will know. Oh yeah, I will know. Now every time I look at it, I'm going, that's not great. That's why I'm not too worried about the texturing for now. It's not high res, and I don't want it to be high res. I don't want this game to be loading shaders and textures just to open level 1. So when you're this kind of distance, it's enough kind of detail for now. I would like to add more stuff, like some indication it has a face of some kind, but that's all extra to what I'm building here. Let's get the meta rig highlighted. So I think it's probably frame 25. I say from there, as it's bringing it down, I would like which one's it going to be? Probably these bones here. So if I insert a rotation stamp there, let's do the same here as well. So it means I can put a rotation stamp there. When we get to 25, I can then angle these from Z, and the Z look there. So I want that to kind of come in a little bit like that. Where am I looking at the angle? Oh, there, rotation there. So let's say about 20, approximately 20 degrees coming in there. Oh, we can set it there. Awesome. 20 degrees that way. And minus 20 going this way. So we could do coming in a bit more. I reckon the shoulders need to twist. Probably the collarbone here could twist a little bit. Let's bring this up. So 20, I'm saying 20s are anchored points. So let's set the rotation there. And when we get to 25, which is where this is, isn't it? Yeah, 25. Let's put it back on the Z look. Bring this in a little bit. So that's about 25 degrees. So minus 25. Let's do the other one. Degrees. Also, for more natural feel, it might help if you were to just wing rotation instead of setting it directly to 20 degrees. You just take whatever you get from those long ass decimals rotating cell. Yeah, definitely don't want to having anything that's sort of a point decimal. If I can help it. Right, so how does this look? Let's hide the meta rig. Probably needs to. I'm easily amused. Probably not so quick. I think it comes down to meat just as it hits the ground, I'd say. They probably are touching too much. I need to probably adjust the angle. So let's grab that and that, and that and that. Move them from 25 to 30. As it gets to 30, they meet and then slams at 35. I quite like that. Let's see how that looks. Isometric. Yeah, I don't quite like that they touch. Might need to adjust that slightly. In which case, shall I adjust? I'll adjust these ones. Forearm. Let's bring this back up to there. Not gonna lie, Sara looks like it's composing itself. Why are we getting the numbers over here? I can't remember what the tell you what, easiest thing to do. Let's probably remove that point there. Actually, I probably don't even need that movement at all. Let's grab that one. Delete that point. Yeah, because I think they come together enough without me changing the forearms. It does mean his arms go through the ground. Again, it's not going to be a major thing from the player's perspective, but I shall know that it's going to clip through the ground. So I don't think it's the angle that's the issue. It's the there always be clipping in games. Oh yeah. I would like to avoid causing too much clipping if I can. Maybe I can change the angle of his back. So we lift him out of it slightly. So at 35. Let's angle that up. There we go. So that should slam exactly on the ground there. So I think what would help here, as it comes down, is he needs to kind of not come to a sudden stop, but have his body at the back continue to move for a frame and then spring back up again. So it's kind of like a compress and then release. So we could do that manually. So that's a spine piece there, isn't it? So that's the location. Let's put it on side view there. So as that comes down, he almost wants the want to move this over slightly. Get zoomed in. So let's go back on that. We shall copy that. Make our life easy. Copy that. Paste it there. And then we move it. Oh yeah, it's already on 36. I thought I was on 40 there. So 36 is where we want it to be. But let's say we bring it down a little bit more. We're back in 10 or so minutes. Okie dokie, bot. Do your thing. So how does that look if we zoom out here now? So that comes down. I like that kind of, and I think at the same time, because that kind of really shows the impact, the fact it bounces slightly there. So at the same time, I think the shoulders need to show a little bit of the impact. Because when it gets to 35, there's going to be a slight clipping there, but I would like the shoulder to shift. So if I grab that and grab that and set location. Let's put that side view fully. And then can we shift the shoulder up to line with the ground? Then we get to 36 as he lifts back up. Grab those frames, paste them there. So that means that he comes along, let's zoom out a bit to make it a bit smoother. Comes along, hits the ground, his shoulder shifts, You can see his whole body moves just between that frame there. So that hopefully should give a bit more impact on its actual how hard it hits the ground. Probably the bounce needs to be more on the frame though. So the shoulders and the spine, so those there. Oops, the other side. Maybe move that over one more frame. Yeah, I'm quite liking it. So what's zoom out a bit more. Ooh, yeah, that looks a bit more impactful, doesn't it? So I think definitely the arms need to overshoot slightly. So let's look at that as well. And that is these two again. So there's certain joints doing a lot of heavy lifting, so to speak. So if we copy those there, paste them there, but grab the rotation, and we actually want it to be a little bit further than before. Now, does that make enough difference? I think it does. I think it's subtle, but you don't really notice it. Unless I put more of a pause on it, maybe. Because otherwise it might get lost into the overall animation. So that overshoots, comes back. Maybe even just hold it for a second there. So copy that. Hold it for a frame and then slam. Try that. I'm not liking it. Double negative. That looks smoother to me. Now with the added effects in the engine, I think that will look quite an impactful attack. And it looks far better than my original that I lost. So the next stage, as on the original, is he holds that position. He lifts his head to confirm, well, okay, did I hit them? Kind of thing, like slams down, raises the head, and then kind of composes and then stands back up again and then moves into the next action, which might be attack again or to walk, or if the player legged it, go into a scanning animation, go, okay, where did the player go? I've lost them. So let's select the whole thing so we can see where we are. So we've done quite a bit of work here. You can see different keyframes. So frame 37 is when it finishes what we've done so far. I'd say let's go to frame 40. Probably a 38. That's so we're going to be moving the head, aren't we? So let's put a rotation there. And at 40, we then want to rotate the head up so you can kind of look at what's going on. So let's rewind that and see how that looks in context. Probably snapped his neck at that kind of speed. It was 37, wasn't it? It's not going to matter for another frame. Let's move this to 45 because that could be enough frames. Still seems quick. 50. That looks better. So again, this isn't a fast-moving creature. The fact it slams the ground so quickly is due to how heavy it is. It's using gravity to kind of do half the work for it, if not most of it. Still think that head raise isn't. Let's move it to 55 frames. Slams, looks up. That looks more natural to me. So it looks up. And from that point, it needs to kind of reset back through its previous keyframes to reverse its animation, standing back up again. Oh wow, we've done an hour 45 minutes so far. Stream is flying by. We're making progress, which is good. Speaking of which, let's save our work. Don't want Blender to freak out on me and lose everything. So we're happy here. Could I just be cheeky and grab our base keyframes here? How would it look? We might be able to get away with only having to adjust a couple. Can we select all of them? I think it'd be kind enough there. So, which ones have we actually used? Let's say frame 80. At frame 80, we all start placing these again. So, spine, we've used spine. We use spine 1, 2. So let's grab those three, copy and paste there. Slams down. Yeah, so I need to hold its position for a moment before it starts standing up again. So is it 37, wasn't it? 37. 38. 38. 37, 37. So everything being used at frame 37, which is upper arm, left and right, spine, and it's going to be his legs as well, isn't it? Toes. I've returned. Welcome back, bot. So we want to hold these. Can't actually see what I'm highlighting. Hold those until then, at least. So frame 40. Anything changed? Not a lot. Has it? Well, I suppose it has, hasn't it? You said back in 10 minutes. I've lost the last 10 minutes. I don't know what's happened to them. So yeah, we're just kind of making some adjustments here. So where's his legs coming into play here? Because it comes down to there. So what's on frame 36? That's where it comes to 37, isn't it? Oh yeah, I hate when that happens. The time runs away and you gotta whip out the flashlight, look for it. Yeah, it always happens. I'll be doing something, go, hang on a minute. What happened to those last 5-10 minutes? They're completely gone. Run away from me. Right, let's make life a bit easier. Let's grab just... It's that one, and that. So these things here are determining the squat. So let's copy that. We'll paste them on frame 40. So how does this look? So it holds the squat. Probably needs to hold the squat a little bit longer because I want to hold the squat until his head raises. So his head raises at 50. So move it to there. So down to there. Head comes up. It does matter if his arms come up to a certain degree. Comes down to there. So it's the ones I want to play with now. It's going to be those ones. So I'll hold that until frame 50. Oh, that looks better already. So slam down, takes the brunt of the force, lifts his head. Now, as he's starting to stand upright, the head needs to reset back to its position as well. Yup, me lucky. Feels good. Glad you do. So it's frame 80 is the reset position. So the head. So just grab that, go to frame 80, paste. So we'll work on the arms in a second, but how does this look now? Probably needs to hold that position. That dude never skipped the leg day. Look at him lift that spine. Yeah, so maybe hold the position, head lifts up. Hold maybe there for a moment. Or maybe it's slow a bit here as he lifts his head up, and then so I like the fact he lifts his head. So yeah, frame 55 it starts to stand up. Maybe I should move that to a frame 50. Let's move to frame 55. Yeah, maybe that's okay there. Let's hide the meta rig. He stands up a little bit too quickly for my liking. Although if he's standing up that quickly, he needs to kind of have a like an overstretch, like the rocks kind of almost pull apart slightly. If we're going to go to that level of detail, because he's moving too quickly in my mind for the rocks not to sort of pull away from the speed. Or we just move everything further along, so not frame 80 but 85 or 90, put frame 90 there. When he stands up that quickly, his vision is bound to darken. Come like I said, oh, I know that feeling. If I stand up that quickly, sort of, I'm out for several business days. So we say frame 90. Let's hide the meta rig again. Slams down, looks up, slowly stands up. That's better. That's more my pace of standing up. So we just need to deal the arms then. So the arms just need to reset back into their default position. So what we've changed is these two. So that's the default there. So 20, what we have on frame 20 is their default. So let's copy that onto 90. Paste. Let's look at the Z positioning. So it slams down. We probably could do with holding that position again. It's about there. So let's grab that, copy, paste on frame 50. So slams down, holds the arms as the head lifts up, and as his body starts to move, separates the arms back out again. Okay, so how's that look straight on? Obviously the arm's still raised, but we'll deal with that in a moment. Slams, looks up. Cool, I like that. What have I got in here? click something. There we go. Right. Let's look at the, what's the other thing we changed? It is the shoulders. These two. So just grab those. And we go to frame 90. Paste. So how's this looking? Let's go back to the beginning. Yes, we need to hold to about 55. So let's grab those. Paste in 55. Did I paste the right ones? Because I don't think so though. It's probably not the rotation, is it? Want the rotation, rotation, rotation. There. This is the rotation. So those keyframes, it's the rotation keys. Those ones there. Copy to 55. Slams. Oh, I've only done one of them. But yes, that looks alright. Let's do the other arm. So copy these keyframes here to, is it 55? It was 55. Paste. I think that's covered there. Going back to the beginning, let's have a look. I need to adjust the looping time. Let's go to save this before we go any further. Save, go to animation. Only specify the intended playback frame range. The action this range is used by some tools, but does not affect it. Cool. Why is that not actually picking it up? If Michael Roxon was a toy, my cat would knock it down without any hesitation. A cat would do that for anything, really. But definitely would, yes. Frames, steps, seconds, first frame. Okay, that doesn't make much of a difference there. Let's try and get to loop on frame 90. Oh, there we go. End 90. Ah, and notice how it jumps on the feet there. So we've not done the feet properly. So we still need to do the feet. Okay. We're almost there though. Let's grab the 2 feet here. Oh, yeah, select that. Go to pose mode. Grab the 2 feet. Grab those, go to frame 90. Paste. Michael Roxon is a perfect archetype to sell you protein shakes. Yeah, he's swole. Just look at those rocks. Right, so he needs to hold, his ankles need to hold. So we probably need to extend. Let's try 65 there. It's not perfect, but I don't think anyone's going to notice too much. Let's bring it back a little bit. Yeah, I think that it's minimal enough that only I'm going to know it's there. Dinosaurs roar, cats meow, dogs bark. What about rock golems? Do they make a sound of rocks rolling on rocks? I suppose it'll be, yeah, because the rocks are going to be kind of knocking against each other and kind of grinding. So there's going to be a stone on stone kind of sound when it moves. And it's obviously going to be like a sudden thud and rumble when it hits the ground during this attack. I'm quite pleased with that. Now, even without any particle effects or sounds, that looks like it's really hit the ground quite hard. I mean, like it's battle cry. Oh, battle cry. Ooh. Yeah, it's going to have some kind of sound to indicate it's noticed you. Like the movement's going to have general kind of rock sounds to it, but as a creature, would it make a sound? I suppose you think like certain insects make sounds not through vocal cords or through breath, but by movement. So maybe it could vibrate its rocks to make it like a rumbly sound. Yes, the animation looks amazing. Thank you, Rob. I think there's certain insects like rub body parts together to make a sound. I suppose it could vibrate its rocks to make a rumbling sound. I know it should make this sound. Meow. Yeah, maybe it could make like a rumbly rock sound. Like it could be vibrating its rocks together to make like almost a earthquake like rumble. But I'm quite happy with that animation. I'm going to hit save. Stop the animation. Go back to 0. Hit save. What have we done? We've been live for just over 2 hours. We could attempt to sell your car insurance. Hi, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. I don't need a warranty. Boom. Ah, you wish you did now. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that animation. It's probably the best one I've done. I'm going to have to go back and redo the rest of it now. Now, the other animation I wanted to do was the turning on the spot. That's mostly going to be leg based. They're trying to reach you about your Flintstone car. Flintstone's car's extended warranty. Because that car uses stone wheels, get it? Yeah. Now, I was so inclined, I could probably turn this into a transformer that turns into a car, but I'm not going that far. It's not that kind of game. Right, I'm going to make another animation, which we'll do next week because I haven't got time to start. I might have time to start it at least. Let's name this turning. So we do have a TAC 021 scanning and walker symbol. So we still have the original. We haven't lost them, which is a good start. So we're on turning at the moment. Blender really hooked you in. Yeah. Now you that anim head. Yep. I like animate. I generally wanted to like do animation when I was younger, but doing it by hand with a pencil and a piece of paper would take forever, and I've not really embraced the software for doing such things until recently. Really itching to make those animations, yeah. So we'll do what we did start with before. Grab the entire skeleton. Set the location and rotation. We don't need to scale. No scales changing here. So we've got the entire skeleton in place. It's only really going to be... Now, can I be smart about this? Can I use the same animation for turning left or right? Or do we have to make two separate animations? Now how would something turn? So if it's turning clockwise, it would have to put its right foot backwards. And then its left foot like swinging round, so the right foot would have to come back into the middle and the left foot would have to come forward into the middle. I think you can just flip the values when you're done with one. I think so. So just put negative in front of each value. Yeah. I don't have to animate both of them. I suppose this will be a quarter, no, an eighth. So rather than coming all the way back to the middle here, this will come in the middle of this square. This foot will go from that corner of the square to the middle. This foot go from this corner to the middle of that square. That foot will move from the middle of the square to the corner, and that will go from the middle to that corner, and then it's turned 90 degrees. And that is one quarter turn, and I just repeat that until I'm facing the right direction. Hello! Is that I hope I don't butcher your name. Sebas? How's it going? Good to see you. I hope you've had a good Monday. Welcome to the Super Streams. What's your name? My name's above my head. Hug Junkie, you can call me Hug. Good. How's it going? We won't be on for too much longer. We're just kind of setting ourselves up for next week's stream. I'm thinking we'll do a quarter turn. Ever use Unity? I have. In the middle of making a game in Unity. So at the moment this fella's doing some stuff, but I need to improve him in the Blender first, and I'll re-import him. But it's kind of getting there. There's a few things missing on them, so we'll continue working on the model. Did you see they're adding an AI into you? I did see something about that. So not so keen on utilizing AI in my game development, to be honest. Sort of, I can see it could be useful for some people, but I'd rather do things wrong and long-winded than have it taken out of my hands. I don't mind coding support. Like if I using Copilot in Visual Studio, it can be useful to get suggestions and improvements and stuff, but generally I don't tend to like using it because it takes away your cognitive exercising. What code editor do you use? I use Visual Studio. So I use this day to day for my career. Unfortunately, my career doesn't involve making games, but it involves coding. So I know my way around Visual Studio quite well. And it ties into Unity, which is cool. So I'm very familiar with this setup. So it's one of the reasons I chose Unity is because it was not really much of a jump coding wise. It was just learning the engine and applying my my knowledge of C# with a little bit of modification for Unity's way of doing things. Yeah, I think if we do an 1/8 of a turn, well, we could just do an 1/8 of a turn and just repeat that little mini animation. So there's foot backwards, foot forwards, just slightly, and a twist, and then you just keep repeating that animation so it very slowly turns. So again, he's not a very fast kind of being. So I suppose we can get away with just an 1/8 of a turn. And we just do the same going in the other direction, where it just brings left foot backwards and right foot forwards and twist its torso. Hey Jay, I need your decision. Do I make my game work or do I hop into Blender tonight? I'm torn between the two. Either way, I'm going to procrastinate here. What is going to keep you engaged the most? I know you're saying you're going to procrastinate anyway. But if you really don't feel motivated to work on your game, maybe starting in Blender will give you that motivation to stick with it. Also, I think you should turn the torso, then the legs. I was about to mention that. Keep the torso, legs, like, again, slightly robotic, so twist the face the direction and then legs follow. Because that would be quite, yeah, it gives it a little bit more personality. So I suppose we'd probably twist it from that point there. Trine robot, yeah. So we say that frame 10 there. And we go to the Z view there. So we say we're doing an 8th turn clockwise. We want to face that corner there. So it'd be 30. Yeah, 30 degrees. So do that and actually set that to -30. Yeah, so he turns 30 degrees clockwise. And then the legs kind of twist. Now I know you can do procedural animations if you're smart enough. Like I could get him to target something, have the torso follow the target and have the legs compensate and twist to match the torso. But I'm not clever enough to do procedural animations just yet. It'd be cool to get into it. But I've seen people do procedural animations on like 4- and 6-legged creatures, where you just move the model and the legs procedurally follow. So you don't have to worry about animating the legs. You just move the model and the legs just kind of follow along, which it looks very natural and quite creepy. But also very cool that you don't have to worry about doing anything too fancy with the animations. It just matches the procedure. I heard somewhere that procedural animation isn't that hard in Unity, but they've super smart. I will look into it. I want to learn how to do everything that I can. But yeah, I've seen people do 4-legged, 6-legged procedural animation and have it going up over all kinds of terrain where the legs just kind of naturally move. When they get to a certain far back, they automatically lift and move forward as if it is reaching and walking, and each of the legs offset themselves and stuff. There's a guy making a game, but all animations are procedural. Ooh. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I would like to look into that. I don't feel this rock golem needs to be procedural. I don't think anything in my game needs to be procedural, really. I'm going for a very old school feel. Because again, it can look slightly unnatural, like the legs aren't really attached to the body because they've got their own thing going on. So you see a lot of animated stuff where the legs are just kind of running and the upper body is just static and sort of moving like this. Because they're not, the two processes aren't attached. I'm sure there's a way around that with procedural animations where you animate the top to go with the bottom, but yeah, people generally just have the legs doing their thing and then the torso doing something else. His player looks really cool because he has a climbing mechanic. And normal mode is just his 2 legs moving, and then he starts to climb, it all goes on all 4. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we shall continue with this next week because it's nearly 2 hours 20. But we made a start there. We'll save. I'll know where I'm going with this anyway, because we'll have to turn there. And say, just do an 8th of a turn, and the legs move. And then it's effectively completed that. And if he wants to do a quarter turn, it just does the 8th turn animation twice. That's an easy way of doing it. So you can basically go sort of, what's it going to be, 4, yeah, 8 positions around the clock. It can kind of just turn and move. So again, it's can be very robotic, and the game is going to be very much on a grid generally. Like, the player's not going to be stuck to a grid, but everything's going to be positioned grid-wise. So it's not going to be sort of too smooth. Everything's going to be very much old Zelda, Legend of Zelda type grid stuff. Like always, really enjoyed the stream, Mr. Clickbait Junkie. I'm going to play with my rocket more. Definitely work on my game. Cool. Yeah, do that, bot. You'll be thankful that you keep to that. So that's saved. Let's make another save there. So it's starting to get a bit warmer, which is weird because it gets more towards night. But thank you all for being here. Let's switch over my camera so we can see my face better. Yeah, thanks all for being here. Good for the thanks for the chats, and thank you everyone who's been lurking. I see some awesome names in that list there. I do appreciate you stopping by, just to kind of hang out. Even if you don't chat, you don't even have to chat on my stream. I can do all the talking. Very happy with that. But yeah, next week carry on with the animations with this guy, and then bring him back into Unity. There's one thing I need to try and fix, and that might be the hardest thing. Is it's exporting with a 90-degree rotation, as in it exports facing down as if he's planking. I need to keep testing export settings, but I worked out. Good night, Soup Stream. Enjoy your evening and your next day. Thank you, bot. See you Wednesday. Yes, I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be doing Trine 5 at 7:30 UK time with Jeffrey and Lisa. We'll be. I think we might even finish Trine 5 this week. Oh, that problem I have it too. Don't know how to fix it. There's so many tick boxes and settings on the export screen. You just have to tick the wrong thing, and yeah, the model becomes a pain to try and use. But let's keep trying settings. Eventually we'll get there. But that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, trying on Wednesday, trying 5. Might finish it, and on Friday, be 9 PM UK time. Working on my Unity game, which this rock fella isn't being built for that game, but I might include him. But yeah, I'm going to try and finish off the input system on Revolt Overthrow on Friday. So I'll see you then. So Wednesday 7:30, Trine 5, Friday 9 PM, Unity game dev stuff. So see you all then. Too many bells and whistles, yeah, indeed. Good night, bot. Thank you for hanging out. Good to chat with you, and good to chat with Sebas. Thank you for dropping in as well. Hope you continue with your journey. You sound like you're in a bit of game dev development stuff as well. So yeah, I hope you come back and see you again soon. And everyone who's been lurking, awesome to see you. Hope you have a good Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you all Wednesday. Have a good night all. I'll see you then. Good night.